Hello, hello, hello. Welcome to So Much to Talk About, and this is the continuation of our 2008-2009 college basketball preview. Paul Miyake, my Midwest correspondent, and I talked about the 11 conferences that will have more than one team in the NCAA tournament. So now I will continue on with the mid-major and smaller conferences that will have just one berth, one team that will represent their conference in the NCAA. So here we go with that listing without further ado. First, I'd like to talk about Vermont. The Catamounts will represent the America East Conference in the NCAA tournament, and they have such a tremendous inside-outside combination of Marcus Blakely, junior forward, only 6'5", and he averaged 19 and 11 last year. I mean, that's amazing. His game is very much like Damian James of Texas, another short guy that plays bigger than his height. Point guard Mike Tremblay, he averaged 18 points and 4.5 assists a game last year, and both players were in the top 3 in America East in scoring. And Coach Mike Lonergan has a deep team, including Michigan State transfer guard Maurice Joseph. So this team should definitely make moves and make waves in the American West and be able to win that conference tournament to move on to the NCAAs. Now I'd like to talk about the Belmont Bruins. They will represent the Atlantic Sun Conference, and they are one of 6 teams to have 3 straight automatic bids to the NCAAs. 1 out of 6 in all of Division I. That's very impressive. 9 of their 11 top players will be back, including the forward tandem of Shane Dansby, who's an Atlantic Sun Player of the Year candidate, and Matthew Dotson, the best shooter in the Atlantic Sun. So they have a lot of offensive diversity, and they should come out of the Atlantic Sun Conference. We have the Big Sky Conference and the Portland State Vikings, and you have the best player in the Big Sky, last year's MVP point guard Jeremiah Dominguez, just a real quick and heady player and the leader for this team. And 3 significant transfers, including Dominic Waters, who was once the WAC Freshman of the Year from Hawaii, and Phil Nelson, who was a part-time starter with the Washington Huskies. These guys will come in to really help Jeremiah. This is their time to be able to represent the Big Sky in the NCAA tournament. You got the Big South and the Gardner-Webb running Bulldogs. They return 4 starters. And also, even though this is their first year in the Big South Conference, they've had plenty of experience against those Big South teams, going 3-2 last year and averaging 90 points a game on offense. This team is a run-and-gun type of squad, and they're led by a great point guard, Grayson Flitner, very underrated. And they also beat Kentucky last year as well in Lexington. So this team is no joke. They have experience, and they will represent the Big South in their first year there in the NCAA tournament. The Big West, the Cal State Northridge Matadors. Excellent backcourt of Dion Tresvant, no relation to Ralph, and Josh Jenkins, who led the Big West in assists. And they have a 6'9" load inside, and Tremaine Townsend, who's a double-double machine. And I'm telling you, inside, outside, they're tough to stop. And the Matadors will be a very dangerous matchup for anyone in the NCAAs. And now the Colonial Athletic Association, which has been a very solid conference over the past couple years. The 2 seasons prior to last, they had more than one representative in the NCAA, including George Mason and their extraordinary run to the Final Four. A very good conference. The Virginia Commonwealth Rams will represent the Colonial Athletic Association in the NCAA tournament. Now, remember, VCU 2 years ago defeated Duke in the first round, and they were snubbed last year. They have a very sour taste in their mouth. They won the CAA regular season title, and they won 24 games, and they did not make it to the tournament. Coach Anthony Grant, LSU and University of South Carolina tried to lure him away, but he decided to stay at VCU, and I think this will definitely give the program a jolt. You have guard Eric Maynor, who's projected to be an NBA draft pick, and he has a versatile game for a point guard very similar to George Hill, who was the first-round pick for San Antonio and former IUPUI star, and they will definitely be able to get through that conference tournament and make the NCAA tournament. Now, the Horizon League. Cleveland State Vikings. Check this out. Now with Butler, the Butler Bulldogs, I mean, very solid team over the past couple years. They lost 5 of their key players, so they're somewhat starting over. This gives the Vikings an opportunity with 4 starters returning to be able to represent the Horizon League, and they have a great inside-outside combination of forward Janathan Bullock and former St. John's guard Cedric Jackson. So I definitely think with their experience, they'll be able to make the NCAAs. The Ivy League, Cornell was the first team in 20 seasons, get this, 20 seasons, to represent the Ivy League other than Princeton and Penn. That's amazing. And they will represent the Ivy League again this year with League Player of the Year point guard Lewis Dale, underrated player. Definitely check him out if he's on television. And 2 guard Adam Gore. And also they have sharpshooting forward Ryan Whitman, who's probably, I would have to say, one of the best shooters in the country, not just in the Ivy League. And the Big Red will be able to have their 2nd straight title. They had a blowout loss to Stanford, so that'll be fresh in their minds when they get back to the tournament. The Metro Atlantic Athletic Conference, the MAAC, you have Siena representing 5 returning starters coming back to the team that made the 2nd round in the NCAAs after blitzing Vanderbilt. They murdered Vanderbilt. Player of the Year favorite, Kenny Hasbrook, very good guard. And also forward Edwin Ubelis. I mean, what an offensive tandem. I mean, definitely they're athletic and they can score at will. And look out for Alex Franklin, who's a great rebounder, as well as Ryan Rossiter, center Ryan Rossiter, who will step up this year. So they have strength inside and outside. The Saints will be a pain for any team in the first round of the NCAA tournament. The Mid-American Conference, the MAAC Conference, the Kent State Golden Flashes will make the tournament once again. And they return the best backcourt in the MAAC in Al Fisher and Chris Singletary. And I got to tell you, Gino Ford, he was an assistant under Jim Christian who went on to TCU. So Gino Ford knows the system and knows his personnel very well. So they should continue where they left off. But their front court will have some, it'll take some time for them to consistently produce with the loss of forwards Hameen Quinstance and Mike Scott. But collectively, this team has a lot of experience to make moves in the MAAC conference.